What drew me to Delgo was initially the colors. Everything was so rich and deep. There's comedy and there's romance and there's an epic storyline, and I thought that would be a great opportunity for me to be very colorful musically.
For me, one of the cool things in doing the sound design for Delgo is that it's a unique world. But it's not like sci-fi, which is usually what you get with a totally unique world. But it's still very organic and gives so many opportunities for just really cool, interesting sounds, creatures that you've never seen before, never heard before. It's a lot of fun to develop those things and just come up with what the various creatures sound like.
Delgo's story, is very epic. He has a theme which is, similarly grand, and you'll hear it quite a few times in the film in different stages. And it plays when he's alone at the beginning of the film. It surely will play at the end when he emerges as the hero. So he needed that grandeur to his music, and that it had to be something that wasn't playing just what's happening on the screen, but instead it's playing what's happening, I guess you could say, behind the screen, or what's happening inside him, or what's happening in the world he lives in. It's not so literal, it's not cartoony. Sedessa is manipulative, she's seductive, and she's always tiptoeing around what it is that she's trying to get. She's dancing, she's a dancer, with her language and with her movements and everything. So the music for her will be a dance.
She's also the bad guy.
Yeah.
So stuff that I'm throwing in typically when she's around, or certainly in her castle, whatever. There's a lot of dark, low-end sounds to kind of give you that undertone.
Yeah, what's interesting is I guess this is why the sound and music are working so well together in these moments, is because, for instance, she's having her assistant dictate a letter, and it's a comedy moment. There's a dark undertone that's set with what you're doing.
Right.
The music is actually sort of tiptoeing around.
Yeah, the ambiences are always background tone, something you don't consciously think about,
no, but
it's you feel.
It's manipulating in the same way. You're definitely taking from it that imprint. It's sort of a happy accident that because we never talked about it, but we must have been thinking about it somehow.
There's a lot of life in the film, and one of the things I've been trying to do is really add another level of life beyond what you see, just to make it that much more real. It's been cool to develop the animals the two peoples both use as their transportation. The Lochni are riding around on the rock biters, which are big, heavy transportation animals. The razor wings, in talking to the director about it, he was very specific in describing how he thought that they were very intelligent. And so that played a big part of the design and trying to come up with the vocals for the creature and what would they sound like. And I started dealing with other creatures that are intelligent, dolphins and various other mammals.
So it can stay in the realm of
a
little bit of familiarity.
Yeah, exactly. Again, everything has to seem like
plausible.
Something real. What's kind of tricky with them was their wings, because they're very large creatures, yet they're flying around with a lot of grace, but there needs to be some weight to this flap because it's carrying a very large creature with people on it even. That was a lot of playing around with a lot of sounds and blending various elements to come up with that. But I think it sounds pretty cool.
This is a rare opportunity. A lot of times the composer and the sound designer may be butting heads, and instead of working together to find a common solution to something.
Yeah, it's good to be able to start so early in the project and really work things out on a very micro level.
Define our spaces.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a big believer in blending music and sound design. More than just simply kind of like leaving a hole in the music for a sound design moment or vice versa, but really trying to utilize elements like, say, a creature who has kind of a big footstep, making that work rhythmically within the theme of the music to kind of drive it, where at one point it's just footsteps and another moment it's the drums leading into the big attack crescendo, kind of causing people to even, you know, if they were to think about it,
Yeah.
to kind of question, well, was that part of the music?
Yeah, right. Is
or
it the
was
music?
that
Is it
part
sound
of
effects?
Sound
Is it just-
effects,
it's-
you know?
And instead, really, what we're creating together is the soundscape.